aim of this video is to demonstrate how to bleed the brakes with the bleed kit. Okay, to start the bleed process, we need to remove the rear wheel and also remove the brake pads to avoid any contamination. Okay, included in the brake pad kit is the brake pad block to replace the brake pads, basically to stop the pistons from opening up when you apply pressure into the system. Okay, I'm now going to demonstrate how you insert the syringe into the caliper bleed nipple. Okay, so that's the syringe attached to the caliper. We'll now insert the funnel. The idea being is that that funnel is empty. We're then going to push the fluid from the bottom up to the top. Okay, so now the funnel is attached. Effectively it's an open system now. So what I'll do is I'm going to apply pressure to the syringe, force the fluid up through the brake line and then push it out in the air. Now the syringe is almost empty. To avoid any air getting into the system, it's probably best just to leave it, not push any further now. Now I've pushed the majority of fluid. I'm just going to squeeze the lever a few times just to show that if there's any bubbles left in the system. I've not seen any bubbles, so it's good to see that the system is bled. To remove the funnel, if there's any excess fluid in there, you need to apply the plunger just to stop that fluid from coming out. When you then remove the funnel from the adapter, remove the adapter, you may get some excess fluid. Just seep out of it. That's now the top part of the system all locked and sealed off. Get rid of any excess fluid and then maybe just a bit of brake cleaner. Similar process really. I'll remove the adapter screw from the rear caliper and then put the bleed screw back in. And then just use a bit of brake cleaner, don't need much, just to make sure you got rid of all the excess fluid there. It's not going to cause any damage. It's really important that you don't pull that lever until you've got the brake pads back in, otherwise you could just collapse them and you'll never get the rear wheel back on. Okay, before we reinstall the new brake pads, we're going to need to release the caliper on its housing so it's floating around. So as you can see, I'm just backing off the bolts, just enough for the caliper to then move around before fitting the new brake pads. Okay, with the caliper loose, I'm now just going to fit the new brake pads into the caliper. Install the pin. And then reinstall the quick release locking pin just at the back. Okay, so that's the brake pads finished. Now what we need to do is reset where the caliper wants to sit. Best way to do that is to compress the brake lever so that the caliper is then locked. And at the same time while you're compressing this lever, you then tighten the bolts for the rear caliper. That will put the caliper in its natural position for when the brake's applied. Right. Okay, now that's all tightened up. That's the caliper sitting in its optimum position and you're good to go. Everything's all done.